Blog Talk Radio.
Across the country and around the world, streaming live on the internet, it's Real Estate Coaching Radio, bringing you the latest news, interviews, and secrets of the top producers. Hosted by award-winning real estate coaches, Tim and Julie Harris.
All right, we are back. Welcome, everyone, to Tim and Julie Harris's Real Estate Coaching Radio. We are broadcasting live from a rather overcast and chilly Austin afternoon. So I want to thank all of you for helping us accomplish our goals of getting to the point where we're closing in on 10,000 listens. You guys know we started this show about a month ago, and we are thrilled with the response that we've been getting from all of you. So I think we're doing more right than wrong on this radio show. And again, if you guys ever want to get in contact with us or send us an email, so many of you do, you can always email us directly at questions@realestatecoachingradio.com. But I know a lot of you are listening to the radio show, and we are, in many ways, I think, helping you realize some of the I have to curb myself because I'm speaking to a public audience. I have to hold myself back. But a lot of you are beginning to realize that some of the things and you're thinking about real estate and things you're spending money on, things you've been doing, I think you're beginning to realize that some of it is just plain gibberish and Mickey Mouse, and that is causing questions in your mind about the direction you should take your individual real estate practice. And that is our purpose. We want you to be constantly monitoring, constantly questioning, and constantly challenging the paradigms you have about what's worked in the past in your real estate practice. The reality of it is that some, if not in many cases most, of the things that you're doing now and have done in the past will continue to work. But we are in the midst of what will be a huge shift in the real estate market. We're experiencing the ebbs and flows of the market hitting bottom and now starting to recover. And I am a firm believer that we are literally in the first year of what will be a ever-improving 7-year housing cycle. So in other words, the market is going to continue to improve, most definitely for the next 7 years, and then most likely it'll plateau in about 7 years, or some market shift will happen which will cause housing to maybe take another step back like it did during the housing bust. So if you think about it, guys, it goes in cycles. 7 years of good market, think about that, started in about 2001 and ended in about 2007, didn't it? Coach Tim knows what he's talking about. And then it crashed from 2007 to roughly 2014. And now the market's swinging back. The pendulum has swung back. And now we're going to be dealing with what I am sure will be a very, very nice 7-year run for all of us. So we have to stay focused. We have to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of us. And we have to accept the fact that some of the things we've been doing, some of the ways we have been thinking, frankly, are outdated and obsolete. And being 100% honest with all of you, the thing that scares me most for realtors in general right now is all the crap that's being sold to you guys about paying for buyer leads. Julie, you and I had this, you actually and I over coffee this morning, you were reading in preparation of today's coaching calls, you were reading an email from one of your coaching students, a new coaching student who just signed on with you to be your personal coach, and she sent you the budget of what she was spending. You know what I'm talking about. So without using names, tell the listeners all the things that this gal was spending her money on, and and how much she was spending because of the fact that she did not know how to list houses. She was having to pay for buyer leads. It's insane. But Julie, what's your input on this?
Well, do you want me to name who they were? There's about 6 different companies.
Kind of. I don't want to get any registered letters from any attorneys.
Say that, they're paid buyer lead sites. And I think there were 8 or 9 altogether, various, obvious ones that everybody gets marketed by, let's just say. And the total was between $1,800 and $1,900 per month. And they varied between $40 a month and about $350 a month. I think the highest one was $625. And so, of course, my coaching call to her was all about how many leads are you getting, what is the quality, how do you know, what are you actually closing from it? That's how you know, okay? So it's easy to get drawn in by this. And we had a discussion about the power of being a listing agent and generating your own leads, and the fact that there are things like 1-800-HOME hotline, which is unbelievably less expensive and a ton more effective. So that you're directly
$35 a month.
Yeah, you're directly capturing your own leads. So there's a lot of different issues with this, one of which is other agents monetizing the leads that come off of your listings, which I don't know about you, Tim, but that's just like completely not acceptable to me.
So I was on a free coaching call. I was on a free coaching call prior to today's radio show with a fellow who also signed up for our personal coaching, and he's going to be one of my clients, which I'm really looking forward to talking with John. Just a really, really sweet guy. So he and I are talking about the fact that he's spending this much money with this lead generation company, this much money with another lead generation company. It wasn't as bad as the one you were just using, but he was up around, I think it was $500 or $600 a month for all these. And I asked him, this guy, he wasn't green. He wasn't, his family's been in the real estate business forever, like since the 60s. And I said to him, I said, John, do you realize that you would just rattle off the name of a couple companies that are selling you essentially buyer leads? And he goes, and I heard in his voice because he knew what I was getting at. He goes, yeah. And I said, so, John, here's the thing. Those buyers are going to, this website and then that website. What makes you think they're not filling out little buyer lead forms at every single website they hit? Of course they are. What makes you think that you're the only one that's getting that lead that you're paying so much money for? You're not. So the lead quality, the leads that he was being sent, he'd signed on with one of these companies that he's spending $250 a month for, whatever. And so far, since he signed on with them, he got 2 leads. And of course, neither one of those leads were worth anything. 2, right? I know. So neither one of those leads were worth anything. But more importantly, those leads had also, were also being contacted by a bunch of other agents. So the quality, the whole idea that you're getting any sort of real quality lead is insane. It's crazy. And I said, so let me ask you a question. You're spending all this money to generate buyer leads. How many buyer leads would you get right now, for free, by the way, if you had, say, 3 listings? And, of course, he knew the answer because he'd been in the real estate business forever. He said, tons. He said, I know how to get buyers. He said, and he's right. If you have 1 listing, guys, you have to beat the buyers off with a stick, depending on your marketplace. It's true. You don't have to buy buyer leads. This buying buyer leads thing is a trend. What scares me for all the agents that are caring to listen, who have the courage to actually take to heart what we're saying, is that you guys are not doing what's necessary if you have a long-term, lasting, ever-improving financial future with real estate, because you're not learning how to be a listing agent. The longer you stay on the dole of buying buyer leads, the longer it's going to take for you to ever learn how to actually be successful in this business. Guys, get it into your heads. The buying buyer leads thing is a trend. It's like bell-bottom jeans, okay? It's like all these other things that people are, feel whole and passionate about, and then sure enough, years later you realize, well, that was kind of something silly we all did, like bell-bottoms, right? So, the reality of it is buying buyer leads is for, generally speaking, agents that just don't know any better. None of you should be buying buyer leads. Learn how to be listing agents. Learning how to be listing agents is a system. It's a process. It's something that once you learn how to do, you will never, ever have to even, when those yahoos call you and they telemarket you and they're trying to get you to, sign on to their exclusive territory to be this agent or that agent, their platinum, silver, gold agent, you can just laugh at them and say, no, thank you, I'm a listing agent. Click.
Yeah, by the way, real exclusive when you have to compete with all the other agents for the same exact lead, right?
They're garbage leads. Well, here's the funny thing. I had another coaching call with somebody who said that they were thinking about investing, buying all these zip codes or whatever to be a premier agent or wherever it was, investing $1,000 a month into this, lead selling website, right? And I said to them, so you're looking at this as an investment, right? Okay, what does the word investment mean? Didn't know, had some answer, provides leads, that was the answer, something to that effect. I said, no, an investment is something where if you invest $1, you're going to make $3 back or $5 back. I said, I got a better idea for you. Why don't you take that same $1,000 that you're planning on setting aside a month to buy buyer leads that hopefully will materialize into something, and why don't you take that same $1,000 a month and invest it in Google stock or Berkshire Hathaway C shares? Or why don't you buy Apple? Or why don't you buy Amazon shares? Why don't you actually, and if you're going to think of your money as an investment, why don't you treat it as an investment? Because, guys, buying buyer leads is not an investment. I know you're thinking that you're investing in your business. You're not. It's speculation. That's all it is. It's gambling. Go to Vegas, throw it all down on red, and call it a day. Please, 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 I know, I am 100% confident that Julie and I are the only coaching company, and all of our coaches are the only ones in the nation right now that are telling you this. 2 years, 3 years from now, everyone's going to be saying the same thing. Right now, we are front-running the fact that this is a insidious trend that you need to stop participating in and learn how to be listing agents. I don't know how else to say it, Julie, without, going off the deep end.
Yeah, well, I think we're being pretty clear about this. And, yes, we're asking you to do something that is a little bit more of a challenge than just giving somebody your credit card number. I realize that. But, when I hear that as a coach, my mind goes off, well, that's the lazy answer. Honestly, it's not that hard to become a great listing agent, but it does take effort, and it takes specific coaching. It takes some scripts and presentation skills. That is your job as a trusted real estate professional, and that is, by the way, what your clients expect you to be and to do. They expect you to be the best, or why else are they hiring you?
Well,
so,
Julie,
I think there's some conflict there, right? What do your clients think you're doing? Do they think that you're just throwing money at the wall, hoping that maybe a buyer lead lands in your lap that maybe you can sell their listing for?
But Julie, the problem is these guys, many of them don't have clients. They have customers. Clients are sellers. Customers are buyers, right? So many of them don't have clients. They have yet to learn how to, have consistent listing inventory. Right. But once you do, guys, then your whole entire life changes. Why is it that our industry is not promoting? Julie read a great snippet from another blog. I forget from yesterday. I forget the blogger's name. But anyway, the essence of it is learn how to be a listing agent. You have to learn how to list houses. It's not that complicated. And next time somebody calls you and they're trying to sell you a system that's going to sell you buyer leads, you, at this point now, because you've listened to what we have to say, because I know at some level it's resonated inside your brain, you have to positively say, and at least have the momentary thought before you decide to buy those buyer leads, that I am making a mistake, because you are. Just learn how to be a listing agent. When they threaten that you're not going to get the exclusive territory or somebody else is going to get your buyer leads and all this other stuff, you can just say, I reject all that banter. I just throw it out the window.
I make my own leads. Thank you very much anyway.
Thank you very much anyway, and politely hang up the phone and wish them luck as they then call some other agent and talk them into their incredibly powerful buyer leads. The buyer leads that you guys are buying, because of the fact that the three big portals, Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com, are investing over $100 million this year in marketing. That means they're going to be spending lots of money on radio and TV, not to sell you guys, but to get more people to go to their websites. More people going to their websites is only going to it will create more leads for you, but it's also going to make the leads less quality. It's going to make the leads so that the leads are going to Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com, filling out forms, going to brokers' websites, going to agents' websites, filling out forms. And so by the time the lead ends up in your email box and you're thinking you've got something really incredible, you're realizing, or hopefully you will realize now, that there's nothing special about that lead. You might as well open up a white pages, for those of you who remember what a white pages is, and just started randomly calling people, because that's, in essence, the same level of quality as the leads that you're paying $25, $50, $75 for. I mean, John, right, he has 2 leads so far, and I believe he was paying $450, or maybe it was $300, I don't remember. But I remember his average, for those 2 leads, neither of which will ever close, he paid an average of something like $175 a lead. Does that make sense?
Ugh. No.
I know. I don't get it, honestly. I don't get it.
Well,
it's a mystery to me.
What we've been saying, and that's, get it together on the listing side. And it is true. We always say you have to list to last. That's never been more true than now.
Especially in this improving market.
Here's how I look at it. And when I have that conversation with coaching clients and they're kind of on the fence about it, I just ask them, especially in low inventory markets, and I say, look, if you are the buyer, the buyer's agent, and over here is the listing agent, and we have this house on the market, which one of you can guarantee that you will have a closing next month? The listing agent or the buyer's agent who's competing with 7 other buyer's agents? Only one of those buyer agents is going to win, but we know for sure the listing agent's going to win. Yeah,
exactly. You control the inventory. It goes in the MLS. I remember, Julie.
Who would you rather be,
Do you remember when we had that epiphany? I know this was like, you and I have been in real estate, I don't know, like 7,000 dog years at this point.
177 years, yeah.
Exactly. But I remember when we had that little epiphany, because when you get into real estate, and I remember it quite well, basically there's no direction. It's easy to be responsive to every little solicitation. Everyone's got the silver bullet that's going to solve all your problems. It's never changed, guys. Real estate attracts opportunity seekers, and opportunity seekers have a tendency to be people that are going to jump at what they perceive to be opportunities. That is the psychological pattern. The people that break away from the crowd become exceptional. Yes, they're still opportunity seekers, but they're realizing they have to actually apply some business common sense to what they're trying to do, learn some skills, and that's how you make the real money. But I remember very clearly when you and I had the epiphany that you can work with buyers, as everyone tells you to do when you first get into real estate. Work with buyers, work with buyers. Work with first-time buyers when you're a new agent, right? And I remember you and I thought to ourselves, okay, so I can work with a buyer, and then I'm the one that's having to go out there and sell the listing agent's inventory, or I can list one house, and at the time in the Columbus MLS there are like 7,000 agents. I can list one house, and then I've got, in essence, 7,000 agents that might be bringing buyers to me. So the amount of time and effort I have to spend being a listing agent compared to being a buyer's agent, there was no comparison. And that little light bulb, that little epiphany,
yes,
I think changed the trajectory of our lives, didn't it?
Absolutely it did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing to think about is most agents, if you're working with pretty active buyers that are looking at whatever you can find for them and you're working on their financing with them and, you're doing all that follow-up, how many buyers can you work well at one time? For most agents, it's 2 to 3 if they're being honest. If they're really, really good, it might be 4 or 5. And then they spend all that time getting them all in contract. Meanwhile, they didn't take any listings, so the following month is keeping them in contract, or the next 2 or 3 months keeping them in contract. So it's feast or famine. However, how many listings can you handle at once when you have some
An average agent can handle easily 10 listings, maybe even 20 listings.
Without an assistant, by the way.
When we were selling real estate, we would have on average, our inventory would get up to around 75, 100 listings. Sometimes it was only 40, just depending on what time it was in the year. But the reality of it was we had one assistant that would handle all of those listings. Yeah. And by the way, we had one transaction coordinator that would handle all the closings. It's all basically how to build your system so that the goal is to drive profit in your business. It's not just to basically do units. A lot of agents now, and I did a radio show with Pat Hyben, someone we've known forever, and he was doing interviews. I'm not really sure what it was for, Keller Williams, something or another, I imagine. Anyway, this was the other day, and he and I were talking about the fact that, he's been interviewing all these top-producing realtors as part of this series that he's putting together, and he said, I'm kind of talking out of church here a little bit, but he said he was surprised by how many of them didn't know their numbers or lied when he asked questions about their numbers. And you know what? That's always been true, hasn't it?
Yep, it is. They always say, I'm on track for. Mm-hmm.
Right, on track
for. I'm projecting to do. Yeah.
They don't know what their net is. They don't know what their gross is. They don't know what their cost per lead acquisition is. They don't know what their profit per buyer side is. They don't know any of that stuff. What they do know is they've been selling lots of houses for a long period of time, and in many cases they haven't really built any significant wealth. For the most part, they do know that. They do know that a lot of them have some crazy debt that they don't quite know how they accumulated. They do know that. They do know that everyone puts them up on a pedestal and applauds when they, talk about selling hundreds of houses per year. But they do know in the pit of their stomachs that they really don't have much to show for it. They haven't built any, they don't have enough rental properties or haven't saved enough money. They do know that. So there is a real sickness in our industry because agents are applauded for doing units, but they're not applauded for actually taking care of themselves financially. And that, this wasn't even supposed to be the topic for today's show, but the reality of it is we are the only agent-centric coaching company out there. The brokerages and the brands want you guys to sell tons and tons of houses because it benefits them. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good business model for them. And a great broker, A, is hard to come by, and B, when you find one, stay with them forever. And that goes with the same brand, too. You can be successful under anybody's tent, including your own. But, here's the thing. We're the only agent-centric coaching company. We are here to help you build financial independence inside your, independent contractor, entrepreneurial environment. And your job is to take care of you and your own. And if you are finding yourself being overly attracted to, the ability to, or those who are bragging about at these conferences that happen all the time, this big mastermind conferences, and I went to the homecoming, and I went to this and that, and the people up on stage were selling all these hundreds of houses per year. Don't be attracted to that. Don't be impressed by that, okay? Don't be. Be impressed by the person that's sitting in the back of the room that's selling 75 to 100 houses, but he's got a net worth of like $12 million. Find that guy. There's always a couple of them in the room. They're not on stage trying to puff themselves up. They're in business to make money, to make profit. That's what we teach you how to do. We're not for everybody. We're not. I mean, there's some people that are going to listen to what I'm saying right now and say, oh, my God, that guy is nuts. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about, what it takes to be successful. Whatever you're saying to yourself, here's the question you have to ask yourself. How much money are you saving every year? How much have you increased your net worth year after year? How many people do you know that retire from real estate? How many people do you know that retire voluntarily from real estate, maybe would be the better question. How many agents do you know that have successfully sold their real estate practices? You start actually being honest with all these hard questions about money that no one ever actually wants to talk to you about or coach you on or confront you with, and you really get to the heart of the fact that we are not being treated as practitioners, as business people. We're being treated more or less as salespeople with no intention of ever helping any of us actually accumulate any real net worth. Think about that, guys. Did you get in this business just so you'd have to sell real estate forever? Chances are you didn't. Are you buying buyer leads right now because you just simply don't know how to list houses, or in many cases, you've forgotten? It's your responsibility to reconnect with that. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to finish today's radio show, and hopefully you'll have some questions. I see that we have some callers in that are getting screened right now, and I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will answer any of your questions that we're getting in right now.
Is coaching right for you? And how can I guarantee it will work for me? Chances are you are asking yourself those questions right now. I'll answer those critical questions for you in just a moment. But first, let's be honest about something you may have always suspected. You've probably always known that the nation's top 1% of realtors, those millionaire agents you see on TV, they possess a secret knowledge that the other 99% of agents do not have. Where did they learn what they know? And more importantly, how did they learn how to put this closely guarded information into money-making action? It's simple. They have a coach. Not just any coach. The nation's mega millions, top 1% of the realtors know that in order to maintain their almost unfair advantage, that they must have their own personal coach. A proven, market-tested coach who has truly walked in their shoes. A coach who has worked with many of the nation's leading agents. At this point, you're probably ready to maybe try coaching. However, you don't want to be unfairly locked into a long-term ball and chain that coaching contracts can give you. It just makes sense that you should be able to try it before you buy it. Even more importantly, you want to have a coach who is the best of the best, not someone who is simply assigned to you, or even worse, has never sold real estate. Can you imagine? If this is you, I have something for you right now that is exactly what you have been looking for. For the next 48 hours, Tim and Julie Harris Real Estate Coaching is offering you a free coaching call. This is a real coaching call with a real Tim and Julie Harris coach. Now, while you are thinking about it, why don't you visit us online at freecoachingcallsforagents.com to get started. Once again, that is freecoachingcallsforagents.com. Now, let's be clear. This exclusive coaching opportunity is only available for the first 50 realtors who are stone cold serious about their real estate business and know that in order to succeed at the highest level, they must hire a coach. So don't wait any longer. Take action now and visit us again at freecoachingcallsforagents.com to schedule your free coaching call. Again, that's freecoachingcallsforagents.com. Thanks so much. See y'all soon.
Okay, Julie, I got on our break and prior to our break a version of this question, and I think we should probably make this tomorrow's radio show. And the question is, and Tim, our producer, I know you're listening, so we might need to change the topic again. Sorry, I do that to you all the time. The question is how do I become a listing agent? Right? So and Julie and I will figure this out and how to present this to you guys tomorrow on the radio show. But the reality of it is a lot of you do know you have to become listing agents. You just don't know what to do. And I respect that, and I appreciate that, and I totally and completely am on the same page with those of you who are asking. So that's what Julie and I will present to you tomorrow during tomorrow's radio show. We will present the information to you in an easy-to-understand, bite-sized format so you can apply it immediately to your real estate practice. I really, really want you to challenge yourself and stop thinking that you can somehow survive and thrive paying for leads. You can't. It won't work. It never has worked. You have to figure out how to do it yourself. It's way easier than you think. I'm going to give you a little counterintuitive advice here. So, this might, I think, will raise some eyebrows. So we can agree right now that the trend is buying buyer leads, right, Julie?
Yes, absolutely. That's the trend.
Okay, we can agree right now that these guys are getting solicited nonstop over the phone with people that are trying to more or less cold call.
Every morning in their email and every day in their voicemail, yep.
Okay, so we can agree that for the most part, that a lot of agents are really buying into the idea that they have to buy buyer leads, meaning that those agents are not even trying to become listing agents, correct?
Yep.
Okay, guys, I want you to think about that for a second. Your competitors are buying into the myth that you can buy your way to success. I was about to say bullshit, but I won't. It's not true.
I think you just did.
Oh, did I? But so the reality of it is that as your competitors are chasing down the paid buyer lead sources and buying into buyer leads like crazy, you learn how to become a listing agent. Trust me when I tell you the competition to take listings nowadays is easier than you possibly can imagine. And once you learn how to do it, it is fun. It is more, I should get Gary, hopefully he's listening today, who's in Central California, who's, frankly, I taught him how to be a listing agent. He had natural skill and ability, and he's really become phenomenal at it. He's taking 4 listings a week now.
That's awesome.
A week. Okay, about a year ago, he was taking maybe 2 listings a month, and now he's taking 4 listings a week. And he was buying buyer leads, but he's not now. I asked him what his business overhead was. You know what his business overhead was, Julie?
What?
His coaching bill.
That's awesome.
Which I should raise,
I love
by
it.
the way.
Well, but that's a great example. Be a listing agent. Create your own leads. You don't need all this other stuff.
You don't, and it's so easy, and there's so many opportunities. It's all around you. All the people, there's pent-up demand. You're going to start seeing, there's a great report I put on the blog, realestateinsidernews.com, which is kind of, I think, the counterpunch to all this pessimism that's being entering into the housing news cycle about, casting doubt on the spring market. All of that stuff is now beginning to wash out, and they're now realizing that, you know what? This year is going to kick ass for home sales. This year is going to probably be better than 2013. And there was a slowdown because of this horrible winter that most of the country has been experiencing. And all those buyers that would have been buying in January and February, they all said, I'll wait till the weather to break, and now they're coming out. Now we're seeing a really dramatic return to the housing market. Guys, learn how to be listing agents. It's easier than you think, and once you do it, you're going to feel so proud of yourselves. You're going to have motivation will not be a problem. Every single day, you're going to be like a heat-seeking missile to listing opportunities. That's where real estate business gets fun. So tomorrow we're going to talk about specifically how to become a listing agent. We're going to give you the overview, and then it's going to be up to you to take the action. In the meantime, if you need anything from us, remember, free coaching calls for agents.com, free coaching calls for agents.com. Julie and I are in the rotation for the next week, and then all of our other coaches are going to be there. You can schedule coaching calls with us for probably the next week, and then, like I said, we're going to be out of rotation. So in any event, free coaching calls for agents.com. Love to talk with all of you one-on-one. Free coaching calls for agents.com. Have a wonderful day.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows, and until next time, Thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.